Welcome to the live. I'm just quickly organising myself a little bit. So today we're doing The Economist. They drop a cover every few months. It's a magazine run by the Rothschilds, who I think are nearly all dead now, which is probably a good thing. They're old bankers' family, that kind of thing. And The Economist was one of their magazines, which is basically put out for rich dudes who have too much money and don't know where to put it all, and they pretty much tell them what's coming up. I've covered last year's cover, which was interesting. This year's a little bit different. It's not quite the same as last year. I don't know if it's as predictive, we might even cover last year's just a little bit at the end, just so you can see the difference between the two covers and what they predicted last year. So I'll just pull up the cover. So on my left there, that's the cover for this year. So this was only dropped yesterday, so this is all fresh, just came out. So looking at it, we've got a fair few topics going on here, and the colours are similar to last year, but a lot less black in it. And so I'm not sure if they had a new artist. Maybe it's possible that there's a new artist, because to my eye the art doesn't quite look the same as last year's art, so a bit hard to tell at present. But at first glance we've got sort of uncertainty, fragmentation, like a world struggling to find its footing, and pretty chaotic. So we're going to zoom in and highlight different things on this cover. So if you just join the live, feel free to comment. This is a decoding, so no one's right, no one's wrong. We're just trying to basically look to the future and see if we can determine what the Rothschilds and crew think is going to happen, for 2026. So I'll just kind of get it there. So I'm just zooming in a bit. I'm not sure whether to start at the top or the bottom. We've got a soccer player by the looks of it down the bottom, which is kind of kicking off. So I don't know which way to do it. Maybe we'll just start at the top. There's most of the important things in these magazines are always at the top and in the middle, that kind of thing. So we'll just see how we go. Alright, just sort of get the zoomy thing working. Just bear with me. Alright, just test my little Hoover. And I might just zoom in a little bit so we can kind of get a better idea of what's going on here. Whoop. Oh, that's probably a bit too much. Yeah, hopefully you can see that on screen. Hopefully that's not too zoomed in for everyone. All right. Just get my little pen tool out. Right, so we will just sort of start at the top. So we've got a lot of bombs, a lot of war kind of in the distance, that kind of thing. And looking straight at it, the amount of pills on this are crazy. Red pills, blue pills, red pills, blue pills. Like, I know you've got the kind of matrix, red pill, blue pill kind of thing going on. I'm not 100% sure this is the matrix red or blue pill. It could just be, pharmaceuticals. We've got Ozempic and things like that, which Trump just gave about $320 billion into, so it can be made cheaper. I think in the US, it's Ozempic is priced at something like $1,400 a month, which is totally unsustainable for normal people, so only rich people can get skinny. And so he recently passed a bill where he threw in $320 billion, basically handed that to pharma to make it cheaper, and I think it came down to something like $380 a month. So I just wonder whether this has got a lot to do with the lost weight pill, and plus all the other pills on the market. And funnily enough, I was just talking to my wife the other day. We were doing a bit of our own deep dive as we do, and we found that Ozempic, the weight loss drug, comes from, oh God, I can't remember the name of the lizard now, but it comes from a lizard that's highly poisonous, like up there with snake venoms. So for anyone taking that weight loss pill, you should go and look up what they make it out of. It's a synthetic lizard poisoned out of its mouth or something. So pretty scary. Funny how pharmaceuticals are never made of good things. They're always made of some evil bullshit like, snake venom or something. But either way, it's no surprise you're going to lose weight if you take poisons like that. You won't, you'll get sick. So long term, who knows? Anyway, off Ozempic. Just a little footnote really for what goes on. But as you can see, there's a lot of pills going on here. So we've got a lot of drones, a lot of satellites, more explosions. We've got these robot dogs coming in. A lot more drones, more pills. It's just phenomenal, the amount of pills. I might even zoom in a little bit more. Right. Yeah, so we're coming over to this section here. We've got the American flag. We've got a fist with a handcuff around it. Now that kind of fist could mean socialism. Could mean a few things, but it could mean protest. So there's a fair few things a fist like that could, represent. Being the handcuffs around it, I'd go for more it's protest, and the protest, as you can see, is handcuffed. So that's pretty typical of modern days. I think I was just, even the missus again, we were talking this morning, and they're putting some 6-month prison sentence if you go outside an MP in the UK's office or house and protest. So, they're really stifling people, their chance to protest or do anything. So it's pretty dystopian, it's pretty tyrannical. This year, it's funny because you get this roller coaster effect. We had like COVID going on and, all crazy shit, and then it mellows out. They, pull back a bit on restrictions and stuff, and then they take us up the roller coaster again and they fall. I think the last quarter of this year coming into it, I think the roller coaster's been turned off. They pretty much haven't done too much to us. I think they've got their own internal kind of dramas and battles going on. So they've kind of left us alone, which is kind of nice, for a change. But I think the hand that we were discussing here, I'd take that as protest, not as much socialism. I think socialism's pretty much dead now. I don't think that really happens that much. I think our choice is fake, capitalism turning into communism. Seems to be more the go at the moment. Yeah, so I'm going to take that as a protest, and the US flag's behind it. So, I would say if you could pick a flag, it would probably be more universal, would have made sense. But, as most things, America thinks they're the middle of the planet and, they're the end all of the world and all important and whatever. So quite typical for me to see an American flag, which is supposed to, celebrate democracy and freedom, which seems to be fading very quickly. So it's that kind of thing. Then we got a lot of rockets, like the one to the left of the hand kind of looks like a Musk rocket. Doesn't look like a nuclear weapon or anything. I could be wrong. And these two here, they look more like nukes or something. They don't look like a Musk rocket as much. So we probably got, and they're kind of waving around. You see the little, like they want to move, that kind of, on the side of them, the kind of motion graphics there. And then we've got another rocket right over here, which looks like the owner of Amazon's penis rocket. So it's taking off again, going somewhere. Probably got some more fake celebrities in it, pretending they went to them, into space and back. I think they pulled that one off last year and it looked as fake as shit. I just couldn't do it. Now, so we got the rockets, we got the fist, we got the American flag, we got lots and lots of pills, which is just a bit crazy. Drones and satellites and all the jazz up the top here. Now this one here keeps capturing my eye. So it's a boat. Has a guy with a jar out the front. I don't think the little drone taken off makes any sense to the boat. And we've got this guy in the back doing something like drumming or mixing something or whatever. Now looking at this, the symbols along that flag look Greek maybe? Maybe Greek? And they kind of look like Turks maybe? That kind of thing. I can't tell. I'm not 100% on my boats, but it's got the eye up the front. So I'm not sure if this is Greek or Turkey, or maybe it's meant to represent both of them. But looking at that, I'd kind of take that I'm going to pick Greece and Turkey. Are probably going to have some sort of thing going on, I'd say. and at sea. Greece and Turkey are not friends. And a lot of oil under Greece's ocean. So I wonder if that's somehow representing old oil or something. You can't really sell, even if I zoom in, there's not a lot of detail. But a very strange part of this illustration, I'm really a bit baffled by it, really. It just seems out of place, and it's old relics and old boat and that kind of thing. So not really sure what to make of that. It's very out of place. Looks like a Zelensky over here with some binoculars, and he's quite far away from all the other people, which is pretty typical. Little midget. Lots of dollars flying around, which is about right. Ukraine's wasted a lot of people's money, and or good for embezzling, I think, Ukraine. I think that's all that whole thing was for. Lots of money up here on the ships too, on the missiles too. So money's kind of floating around. I'm not 100% sure, just going off the top. I'm not trying to look down much further than where my arrow is at the moment, just to get an idea. I might even make my little arrow bigger. Now under the fists and the nukes and the spaceships, we've got this big cake, and it's got 250 on it, and that's behind the US flag and also the protest that's been stifled. So America this year is celebrating their 250th year of signing the Declaration of Independence or whatever it was. So I'm not an American, so I don't know all their history that well, but I'm going to assume that the 4th of July this year will be a big deal for them, as they're 250 years old. I think most civilizations don't make it past 200. I think 200 is pretty typical for, an empire to rule kind of thing. They all dream of having a 1,000-year Reich and that kind of thing. But yeah, looking at history, most of the time, 200 years, you're getting pretty old. So they're 250. Australia, where I am, is like whatever, 220 or whatever it is. So we're getting pretty old anyway for, regime change or, total, fall of empires, that kind of thing. So 250 years isn't bad for a length of time. I think most currencies only last 80 years, traditionally, again, through history. So America's getting pretty old in the books of, the same system, if you would. Now this is getting a little bit more frightening over the side here. So we got our cake, and over the side next to the cake, we've got this container ship, and it's shooting missiles or bombs or shells and stuff out of the side of it. Now, it's really interesting. I actually didn't have I had a slide for this. I actually had a video, and I've forgotten to load it, that shows you that Russia and China have had technology since 2020 where they have shipping containers, standard 20-foot shipping containers, and they load them full of like drones that can automatically come out at sea or when they get to a port, that kind of thing. So very big false flag capability. And they've got some containers where they have, they call it the K Club, Club K, K Club, something like that. And it's a Russian-made shipping container that holds about 4 small nukes. So you consider that pretty scary, that international shipping, the shipping lanes and everything are, they're protected. They're, you're not supposed to attack ships and that kind of thing for no reason, And if you could imagine a ship turning up to a port, whatever, wherever, so we'll pick on America because it's their birthday time coming. And these ships could come in and get the containers unloaded right onto your own soil, right under your own nose, and they could be full of nukes or drones or, all sorts of crap, and they can just a button press and from the other side of the world, and this shipping container, the roof pops open and starts shooting missiles at you. So this technology and the info around K Club, which is, if you want to look up what a K Club is, type in K Club and container and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. A pretty scary concept to have that kind of thing going on. And since 2020, I couldn't even imagine how many of these containers are actually sitting in docks or at the back of a factory or something, and they could be fully armed with nukes and that kind of thing. Now, I know that sounds a bit conspiracy and doomsday, but these are all possibilities, and they have the technology. They've shown it off. Russia's got little videos of it. Like I said, I forgot to load a video into this, and I couldn't be bothered going and finding it. But, so our container ship over here, that's pretty hairy, scary. I'd take that as very threatening kind of, technology. And it's not new technology. It's not even using AI or anything. It's just a scary concept. And what's interesting about this ship is that it's shooting the bullet directly at the birthday cake. America's 250th anniversary. So very interesting. I wonder if there'll be a false flag. I'll put that as a prediction. There will be a false flag on July the 4th in America on their 250th birthday. And I wonder if it does come from something covert, like a shipping container full of drones or missiles or something. Because obviously sending a missile up in the old days, it takes a fair while. If you're going to shoot a nuke from Russia or China to America, everyone's got notice. Everyone knows, so then everyone's pressing their red buttons and they're like sending nukes back. So the idea of putting these things in a shipping container on their own land would mean that the alarm systems and all the systems that check for nuclear weapons flying around, missiles coming at America and stuff, wouldn't even go off. It would assume that it's its own weapons being fired, and its own weapons being fired on itself could actually then set off, say, Russia's detection system that they're maybe going to get a nuke thrown at them, and then they might start nuking America at the same time, thinking that America was threatening them. So pretty hairy, scary concept. And again, this is the Rothschilds here. This is not a cartoon I made. This is the cover for the Economist. This is a rich people's magazine. It's not. Every year they get kind of hairy and scary out there. The Economist, the world ahead to 2026. Yeah, so pretty hairy and scary. The old container thing. That's that's pretty weird that it's shooting at the American cake and all that kind of stuff. So that one's one to watch out for. I'm going to mark that in my headspace diary that the 4th of July in America might have a massive false flag, and it could be something as scary as a container ship in their own port, destroying them from the inside out. All right, so coming under the cake, we've got a PS5 or 6 or whatever controller connecting to a brain full of like little chips or something. So that's kind of a bit of a hairy, scary kind of concept. And like, if you'd told me this kind of thing 5 years ago, I'd go, what a load of rubbish, as if you could put chips in your brain. But they've already done it. Musk has got neurochips, and if he's got Neuralink already running, I couldn't imagine what governments have got. More than likely, the governments just gave him that tech. The guy seems to just walk, stumble on ketamine, like he's off his head. I don't know how he does his own shoelaces, let alone comes up with all these weird shit that he does. And again, I don't personally trust that guy at all. I think he's absolutely set up. MKR Ultra, just a proxy, just being used. And, I think he just paid himself $1 trillion. Could you imagine $1 trillion? Like, you put $100 notes, get $1 billion? Like, that'd more than fill my own house of $100 notes. It's that kind of... $1 trillion is unbelievable. I just can't believe that billionaires are even allowed. After $1 billion, you should have to give back. You should have to at least pay tax or do something to better humanity. But they don't. They just seem to spend all their money telling us we're wrecking the planet as they fly around in their Learjets, paying themselves $1 trillion. Like, what are you going to do with $1 trillion? What an asshole. Absolute arsewipe. All of them. Just, but we the people just sit around going, oh yeah, no, that's okay, yeah. As long as my shares go up, I don't care. As long as my house value keeps going up, I don't care. I'm good. And if you're just conspiracy theorists because you got something to hide. This kind of bullshit. People are asleep at the wheel. And, this year might be a wake-up call for them, or coming into 2026. I think 2025, they've let us off the hook a little bit. They're being kind to us at present. But I'm sure that'll stop. It's the roller coaster ride. So we've got this PlayStation connected to a brain over here. And, pretty scary concept. It was a funny story going around. I was reading a guy who claims he is a NPC in GTA 6 and that they've trapped him inside the game somehow. And then they said a few developers disappeared. And there was this guy who hacked into the game or whatever. And he went up to the NPCs and he said they were amazing. They were so lifelike. And the NPCs were turning around to him and saying stuff like, please make them stop doing this to me. Please let me out of here. And that's pretty freaky. Pretty weird story. Not saying I believe it. I'm just saying weird shit's going on. And again, like the government and tech and shit's probably 40 years ahead of what we know and what we understand as tech. So nothing would surprise me anymore. Absolutely nothing. Like Neuralink to even apparently work is pretty mind-blowing that you can do stuff like that. And being out, our brains are just an electric antenna pretty much. It wouldn't surprise me that people will soon, if not already, be quite easily controlled by, energy, whether it's whatever. Well, for example, today China just released G10. Like, what the fuck's G10 for? G5's shitty enough. That'll melt your brain if you stand too close to the towers or your phone or whatever. And now they're up to G10. So what's G10 mean? There's probably some bullshit in that too. Probably worth decoding that one day. So anyway, the brain one. Again, if you've got comments, that kind of thing, if you know more info, if you're, onto any of this and you can make more sense of it than I can, which is probably pretty easy to do, throw in a comment. Let me know what you think. All right, so we're past the brain thing. I don't really have an explanation for it. I got a few weird stories. That's about all I can come up with. But that wouldn't surprise me at all. Not at all. So then we got Trump over here looking like a wally. So that's, pretty normal. Not sure who this dude is. He might be the UK's new guy got in. Not sure. Not sure about her either. I'm not 100% sure. So again, in the comments, if you think you know who this little dude is, or her, let me know, because, I'm not really 100% sure of that one. So we got Trump looking like a goof, so that's normal. And then we've got two crossed swords. And crossed swords can mean a fair few things. They mean a fair few different things in different cultures, in different, it could mean, that could be Islamic in one sense. And it also could mean, infighting, that kind of thing. There's so many things crossed swords can mean. So I'm not really sure what that's representing, but if you look here, we've got coinage and stuff like tokens, whatever. But really importantly, right in the middle of the picture, we've got this stock market ticker and it is dumping the shit down. It's almost off the bottom of the page. So if you were looking at that, that's about probably 2025 at present. We're probably this little peak here. That's probably about, if you were going off historically, that's probably about 2008. And that's about right. We've had a bit of a jolpy, free money, money printers just going mental for the last, 20 years or so. But so this would tell me the stock market, they believe, the Rothschilds, who are very rich, powerful people, would believe that this year the stock market's going to dump. Maybe it's why Donald Trump's looking so frazzled. And over here we've got and red balloons are also, they're quite iconic. It can mean a lot more than a birthday, because we've got them down here as well. Being that there's a red balloon off the birthday cake area, red balloons can signify, they're very significant for a lot of reasons. Again, if you know what a red balloon means, throw that in the comments. Then we've got the Chinese leader over here. Looks like maybe Putin next to him. And Netanyahu maybe. He's a little dude over here. So we've kind of got the forces who are pretty much against, basically America, democracy or whatever. Netanyahu and Trump seem to get along like boyfriend and girlfriend. You'd think so, but I think there's a lot more to that than what the media show you. And it would make more sense that Netanyahu's over on this side and not over here with Trump. And yeah, I'm really interested to know who these two are, because they're near Trump, so I'm not really sure. Again, if you think you know, let me know in the comments. All right, so we've done the kind of, the stock market's going to crash kind of stuff, which is probably about right. It's been pumped up with free money for way too long now. And even this morning when I got up, I was looking around and I saw Bitcoin's down to 95K. So it's taken a 25% shave off over October, when traditionally, I don't do crypto anymore, but traditionally when I did crypto in 2014 and stuff, I ran my own cryptocurrency back in 2014. Generally over time, October became when altcoins like shitcoins started producing more profit than Bitcoin. But not this month, everyone just got screwed, which is really funny, that's what that whole system's for. Bitcoin's for, and generally cryptocurrencies for people like this guy. Trump's got his own Trump coin, which is worth over $1 billion. And what most people don't realize is, say I wanted something from Trump, say I wanted, whatever, a good deal, we'll say. Now, if I just gave Trump, whatever, $500 million into his bank account and he didn't declare it or I didn't tell everyone what it was for, we'd both go to, well, he wouldn't go to jail, but I'd go to jail. The big guys don't go to jail. None of them have ever. So that's how it works. But by Trump having a cryptocurrency that he owns on his own, I could buy $500 million worth of his crypto, and that's not seen as a bribe. So you kind of see how this system works and why Trump would have a coin and why nearly all leaders will probably get their own coin. It's a really easy way to send bribes to them, and it's totally legal, and it washes the money. So I could send very bad money to Trump's coin. They'll process it, no dramas. It's been now cleaned and Trump can access it, and then he does me the favour that I asked of him. So that's pretty much what cryptocurrency's become. It was always pretty dodgy, like I left the industry because it was so dodgy. I was trying to be a nice guy. I doxed myself and everything, told everyone who I was, and no one really liked me because they're like, you're honest, you're in the wrong industry. And I'm like, well, I thought it could be made into a world, a better place for the world if you use cryptocurrency properly. But since everyone's just a scammer, including Trump and everyone else who uses it, not interested, total fools shit, and, it has predicted it's going to dump to shit and it will go to zero. So it's inevitable. And as soon as they bring in a digital currency, you watch Bitcoin get shitted all over. And digital currencies, like universal basic income and all that shit, looks like it's coming in probably 2026 because at the moment, everyone's broke. All our clients, delay paying bills and all sorts of stuff at the moment because, times are tough out there and massive inflation, which is all deliberate. This is all a plan. Make you broke, then offer you the solution, a universal basic income for everyone. Everyone will go, yay, or thanks so much, or wow, my government is so good at looking after me. And then you're screwed. There's no going back. They'll ban cash. They'll, collapse Bitcoin and every other payment method, and you'll be stuck with some absolute dog shit worth nothing. They'll just keep the money printer running, even worse when they do that, which is exactly how it works now with zeros and ones. I think only 2% of cash is the actual, cash in the market. The rest is ones and zeros. Yeah, don't. So anyway, without people in the background destroying my house, moving on, we got all this cash again. We got cash here, pills again. Look at all the pills. It's just insane. Cash everywhere. And the cash is kind of, looks like it's floating around and no one cares. Like, no one's really interested. Oh yeah, the woman over here. Possible. It is possible. Being Kirk's wife. Maybe. Anything's possible. Kind of hard to tell when it's all cartoony, It's that kind of thing. All right, so we kind of covered the stock market crash, which is probably about right for this year. I'd believe that. We got all the world leaders, grouped around the crash too. If anything, Netanyahu's looking a bit pissed, but the president of China, he looks happy. He's got a bit of a smile on his face, if anything. And Putin, I don't know, he's looking a bit grumpy too. Trump just looks like an idiot. There's nothing new there. And these two are almost like a shocked mouth. So, they're kind of shocked. He looks like a goose, happier than him. He looks really grumpy and all, throwing his hands around. So Netanyahu, I'd assume. And if you don't think it is, and you think I'm getting these guys wrong, yeah, no dramas, let me know. All right, so then we got these big red tanks. Now, I'm not sure of the significance of red tanks. It could be something to do with all the red balloons, or it could just be that's the colour pencil the guy had in his hand. Who knows? But they kind of look like they're moving forward. I don't know if that's water, supposed to be water or land. I'm not really sure. But, so lots of war. We've got nukes, we've got planes and drones and bombs everywhere. So 2026 is looking a bit wary, a bit like everyone's going to be going broke, which is about right. We've got like the justice symbol down here. I can't remember the proper word for the things the judges hit on the desk. They're all criminals as well, so who cares what they're called. But they've smashed the hooba dooba that they hit, whatever that thing's called. I can't remember what it is. So that's like the justice system breaking apart, I would guess, is that's symbolising. And around war, around money, more money, Spilling red wine, not sure what that one means. I'm not sure why we're getting leaves falling down here with all the money either. And then very importantly here, we've got a machine with some dude putting something into it. Now, that could be a money printer that's now broken, because there's a lot of money flying around that I don't, like the most money in this shot here is here. So I don't think it's a ballot box. I would assume that that thing is a money printer maybe, and it's broken or something, or it could be a ballot box. I don't know. So again, what do you think? I'm not 100% sure what that would be, because the guy just looks like a normal guy. He doesn't look like anyone of power or who I would know, but again, maybe someone knows what that guy is. Yeah, so the spilt wine, more of these robot AI drone things, more tablets, more drones, automated AI tanks with guns on them, more of the doggy things, robots. Musk just said yesterday that by 2030, he's going to make 1 million robots. All right, the guy just paid himself $1 trillion, is estimated to make 1 million robots in the next 4 years. Now, if you had all that money, I'm sure you could fix bigger problems in the world, which conveniently none of them do. Like, gives a shit about robots. Like, this is going to be one of those movies like Terminator. Imagine 1 million robots in people's houses. Preferably, I hope they're all in rich people's houses, because I wouldn't buy one, and I probably wouldn't be able to afford one either. But you imagine if he did that by 2030, and 2030 is a big number. If you know anything about conspiracy, wow, get ready, 2030 is going to cause drama. But before then, he plans to have 1 million robots. So, and at the moment, I went and watched videos on them yesterday, and the best thing that a Musk robot can do at the moment is fold washing. All right, so that's not solving the world's problems. I'm sorry, Musk. Personally, I never fold washing, and I don't even iron it. Who gives a shit? Like, what's going on? So apparently that's a big breakthrough yesterday that Musk had. Wow, look at this, it folded a shirt. And it didn't do it by itself. It's all wired into the roof, and 100 guys tapping in keys to make it do anything. So they pretend it's all AI. Bullshit. It's just controlled by guys in a room next to them. And, you know, and I don't know, it had some nana controlling it who was good at folding shirts or something. How ridiculous. So imagine 1 million robots in all these people's houses, and Musk has got the control button. He's got a few buttons here. He can make them explode and burn your house down, or he can make it attack your family. Like, this is very possible. Like, you know, they have total control over this shit. You don't own the robot. And more than likely, I bet you what he does, and I'd put money on this, he'll lease them. Because they'll be so expensive. So instead, you'll lease it. Just like his cars, where if you want it to go a bit faster or it drive itself, you got to spend another 13 grand a year on a subscription. So I bet you they become subscription robots. And, yeah, something will go wrong, I can guarantee you. These people aren't smart enough to actually make something that works properly and lasts more than 6 months without blowing up. And the average battery cycle on one of these stupid robots is about 1.5 hours. And again, how much more lithium do we have to dig up from third world countries to make these 1 million robots? And how much rare earth metal and stuff is going to go into this? Like, to me, it's no better than making weapons with all this stuff. Like, all the best elements on our planet are always used for war, or rich people just wasting it on toys. It's pathetic. And everyone looks up to these guys. That's what I don't get. Just, oh, Musk, wow, he's so smart. No, what a load of bullshit. MKR Ultra. Go and look at his family. His mother's a dark witch on so many covers of magazines, it's crazy. His dad's rooting his own stepdaughter. It's just disgusting. The whole family's disgusting. He has about 20 kids himself, doesn't he? A ridiculous pervert. It's horrible. And everyone looks up to this shit. You know, no wonder the place is going down the friggin' toilet. And everyone deserves what they get, really. So go and get your Musk robots, guys. Get into it. Anyway, back to the bullshit. What else have we got here? We got dollar signs in the wine, more robots, probably stupid Musk crap. And then right down the bottom, we got ice melting. Oh, the good old syringe. I was waiting for that. I thought I wasn't going to see one. I was getting upset that I wasn't going to see any syringes. Here we go. We've got a nice big syringe, so that'll be back in 2026, guarantee you. Now, there's like a map or something. Is that like a map marker next to the syringe? I'm not really sure what that's pointing to or what that means. And it's over $1 that's kind of wobbling. I don't know. That's a weird thing. Anyone know what that symbol means? I would like to know. Got some satellite dish shit, more weapons, more, war shit going on over here, more drones, more money flying around, no one cares, tanks, more drones. So lots of war, it seems. It's not a very pretty... Oh, look, more pharmaceuticals. We've got all these... They're probably the fat pills, the Ozempic crap, which, like I said originally, if you've joined this live a bit later, Ozempic, that weight loss drug that Trump just gave pharma $380 billion for to make it cheaper for fat people to get skinny, which all it does is poison you. It's made out of lizard poison. Go and look it up. I'm not lying. So more pharma crap here. And ice melting. What are we going back to trying to bullshit us about climate change again? Oh, the ice caps are melting. Look, we took a photo in summertime. The ice was melting. Oh, really? Yeah, that's what it does, you fuck. All right, so then we got the more mundane down here. We've got a few people boxing and blue and red. That could mean the Olympics, but it also could mean, like, political parties fighting against each other or something. But being that there's some guy upside down here who's looks like a sprinter, I'd go for more. This is all about Olympics. And we've got, I think the FIFA World Cup is next year. It's in America. I think Mexico is a host as well. So that will be a big deal for them. And I didn't know whether to start this decode from the bottom because, looking at it, if I'll just go down, I'll go to the top. Whoop, it's doing weird shit. Oh, I want that off. If we go to the top, just in case you're a little bit late to the party, we're doing The Economist, the World Ahead 2026 decode. I did the 2025 one last year. I might even put that on at the end if anyone's interested in having a look what last year's cover was. And I personally feel like last year's cover was a lot better than this year's. This year's it doesn't look as pretty. There's not as much kind of cryptic stuff, although it is very cryptic. Just not as much, really. All right, so we've got the dumb dog AI crap again. The Boston guys who make doggy stuff or whatever. Now, where'd my little cursor thing go? Where's it gone? So there we are. More missiles, more syringes, bombs strapped to little buggies. So everything's becoming autonomous, like the dog. More autonomous weapons, which makes sense. Like, who's going to run around with a tank anymore? Like, a tiny little drone for $1,000 can have a bomb on it and destroy that thing. So only idiots, would buy tanks and submarines anymore. Oh, I forgot. We still keep buying tanks and submarines. Anyway, you can't help stupid. And it's deliberate, they're all just mates. They're all in the same club, whether it's Biden, Trump, or whoever. All these guys are in the same club. And the Rothschilds are probably in the club. I think they actually started the club. The Rothschilds, just for reference, is who makes The Economist magazine for other rich people. I don't even think I should be looking at this. I'm too poor to look at this kind of shit, I would say, normally. Now, let's go over here. We haven't got too much more to decode. This decode was actually pretty easy in the end because... I don't find it to be that crazy. Lots of fire over here, jets, pills. The pills are just insane. Look, red, blue. Then you got red and white, and blue and white ones. So I don't think this is a Matrix reference. At first, I thought it might be like the Matrix kind of people are either going to wake up and take the red pill or stay asleep with the blue pill, which is, 90% of people are on that blue pill hardcore. They're chewing it down like no tomorrow to ignore shit like this, to ignore what's going on around us. Oh, look, here we go. Another needle. So we had a needle over here. We've got another needle. So that wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. More nuke rockets, more, automated delivery guys, probably Amazon or some crap like that, and robots. Yeah, so, and then over the horizon, more pills, more satellites beaming shit down, more bombs, more robots. Yeah, so overall this cover is looking, almost predictable, I suppose, when I think last year's cover again was a little bit less like this. So I have a feeling like the artist has changed for this magazine. So The Economist, they've got some really cool covers over time. They've had some that were 10 years earlier predicted October the 7th in, when they punched through the fence in Israel and all that kind of stuff. They had actually guys, they had Hamas in a paraglider and they had Netanyahu in another paraglider clashing with bombs dropping down between them. And that was 10 years before the event happened. So I've looked at a lot of these covers, and it's amazing how many of them have had stuff, not just the year before, but 5 years before. And some of them are just amazing. Like the detail would take me 5 times longer to get through one of the covers. This year's cover's looking pretty easy to me. And I'm not seeing, like, if you're seeing stuff that's predicting the future, let me know, because I'm not. I'm seeing, what I'm seeing here is pretty much all happened or happening, you know, so it's not like, but, you know, but maybe it's just like, even, you know, the Amazon dick rocket over here, maybe, you know, old dick rocket does something, maybe, I don't know. But I think the most significant thing that I've seen is the hand of protest being chained down. Absolutely the sign of the times. The, you know, go and try to protest. Go and try to talk to one of your MPs, politicians, or something in the street. You'll just get tackled and thrown in jail these days. It's just ridiculous. And again, everyone's letting it happen, so it's not their fault. They're just evil bastards. We're supposed to stop them. It's our fault. But I think the most significant is the big cake for America's 250-year anniversary this year. So July the 4th, and this container that's shooting secret weapons out of its containers at them. And like I said very early in the video, this is a legit thing. Go and look up Club K. If you type in Club K in Google, you'll see that Russia has these containers, shipping containers, fully decked out with nukes in them and stuff, so they can just deliver them onto your home soil, press a button a year later when they feel like it, and internally nuke you, and nothing would stop them, because all the defense systems for nukes are like up here, looking over Russia and China and places. They don't have ground level defense systems. You could literally send a nuke up 10 meters, turn it around and hit the ground in 10 seconds and bang. So that's pretty harrowing, I think. This picture here, and it's a big part of the picture. This is a really big part. So we've got nukes, rockets, it could be a Musk one here, not a nuke, I'm not sure. But that one's definitely not a nuke. That's the Amazon idiot who sends fake celebrities into fake space. But yeah, the container ship's really interesting. So I'll be really keen to see July the 4th, whether there's a big false flag happens, and if anything else happens, just for the fact of, that's the only thing I can see in this picture that looks really, you know, like trying to predict something happening. Otherwise, I think the cover's pretty self-explanatory to the day. Like, I do expect to see syringes next year again. I do expect to see pharma just getting rich, and at the same time the stock market taking a massive dump, as we can see in the middle there. Because what goes up must come down. But every time I talk to someone who's heavily invested in the share market, they're just, nah, mate, it just keeps going up. It's always going up. And I'm like, good on you, buddy. Good on you. And, like, you know, I don't really invest anymore. I don't play with crypto. I don't do anything. But I'll tell you something for free, is unless you take profit, you're probably going to lose everything. So you're not ahead until you take shit out of the market. But if you take shit out of the market falls. It's a double-edged sword, that one. And because everyone's just holding on for dear life, thinking it's going to go up forever, oh, wowee. Should be an interesting year, 2026. So what I might do, I might even pull up, see if I can get, I had a, this is going to be tricky, trying to import stuff while I'm doing this, so just bear with me a mo, and I'll see if I can pull in a picture that compares both last year and this year. So bear with me, I'll just see if I can do it. Now, this is normally when you get some massive issue going on, it won't work. Yeah, it kind of looks like what it's doing. All right, bear with me. Where is it? Bloody hell, can't find it now. Got too many things. What's that? All right, let's see if that's it. Bear with me. All right. So that is the difference. I can't really zoom in on that one. It's not in the right program. But as you can see, we've got the 2026 one that we just looked at. And this is the 2025 one. I'm sorry, it's a little bit small. I don't know if I zoom in a little bit, maybe. Can I? And then come down. No, don't go that way. Come down. No, down. All right. That'll do. That'll give you a bit of an idea of what I'm talking about. So yeah, this one's really messy, chaotic. You know, it's kind of ugly to look at. When last year's, if I move my head, 2025, that was the Economist cover for 2025. It was a lot more kind of predictive stuff, and I just found it a lot more interesting than this year's. And I might even do a decode in a week or so when I get time on the 2025 one to see what came true. I'll probably wait another month, just wait till we're into December maybe, so we get more of a chance to see if some of it pans out, because I think a lot of it was actually aimed at the end of 2025, not so much the beginning. So it'd be interesting just to, summarise what I said a year ago, comparing it to what happened, and if anything happened. To tell you the truth, I can't really remember the whole thing, but that's the general idea. So what I might do, is I might pull up the 2025 decode of the Economist magazine and see what you think about this one. See if I can...
Economist come out. That. So the Economist, I'll just pull it up so we know what we're talking about. All right. Just let me adjust a few things. I'll get rid of that. All right. So the Economist is a magazine basically for rich people. It's produced by the Rothschild family. So I think we had one of those guys died this year. I think there's not many of them left, which is probably not a bad thing. I think Lynn Foster de Rothschild is now in charge of the Rothschild Group. They're basically a big holding company who do, like investment. They invest rich people's money. And the Economist, as you can see over there, they have a magazine that comes out monthly, and then they do a yearly kind of, roundup of what they think is ahead for 2025. It's more than interesting. I generally always go and have a look at the covers. Every month one comes out, have a look. It's always just in your face. They tell you what they're going to do. It's just how they work. All right, so we're going to zoom into this baby a little bit. So it's a little bit far away. I can't really fit this on screen very well, but we'll just we'll do it bit by bit. So, all right, that looks a bit easier to see. All right, so they had a 2024 cover, which was very interesting. I might even pull that one up. We'll have a look at this one first. So this is what they're doing now. So looking at the cover, pretty suspicious. We've got Saturn at the top, or Saturn can kind of mean Satan, that kind of thing. Very relevant. So Saturn, I'm not going to go into details of every single photo, but very interesting that Saturn's right at the top there. So that's really in your face kind of stuff going on. Now, I haven't over-examined this. I only just got my hands on it. Interesting timestamp on this as well, which was 33119, so 9/11/33. They always like these kind of numbers. All right, so looking at it, and in chat too, if if you can see what I'm talking about and you can see things that I'm not seeing, feel free to comment, because I'm not saying I know everything, and I'm not saying I know even what they're trying to show me. But looking at it, it's very interesting. So we've got Saturn at the top, Donald Trump in the middle. Then we've got kind of each side. So, looking at the top, we've got kind of like a warp speed thing. So up here, like a warp speed. We've got a globe here and a brick wall. So things are against the wall. And over here, there's this arrow down, which is kind of interesting because it's not around economics. It seems to be around binary stuff. Like this thing here looks like a circuit board. So looking at, they kind of do it in sections, like there's chunks that they're trying to show you. So it's almost like things are against the wall, including circuitry, which could be, to do with AI. People have invested trillions into AI last year and this year. We got the, of course, Saturn. That's very interesting. Now, what's also interesting is colours. They vary the colours every year. So last year it was more like red, white and blue. So American flag colours. It was all about Trump and that kind of thing. But this year we've got red and black. Now, red and black, to me, that's like, forget. I'll see if I can bring up a picture of it. Yeah, it's red and black is a Jesuit, which are basically the army. Jesuits are the army of the Vatican. All right, so Trump's a Jesuit. So red and black are the Masonic order, the Jesuit Masonic order colours. So very interesting that that's there. I can't guarantee that that's what the red and black's detailing, but it's just strange that Trump's in the middle and you've got the main Jesuit colours going on here. So, you know, that's interesting. So under Saturn, we've got this city here. So we've got city, and it seems to have like fallout. Could be pollution, I'm not sure. But fallout or pollution over a city, it's hard to tell what city that is, but it's a big city. So, you know, New York or somewhere in China, I don't know. It's a big city. We've got the leader of China over here on the right side, and we've got circuitry boards next to him. Again, this picture behind him looks almost demonic. Like looking, if I zoom into that, it almost looks like, I don't know, figures burning or something like that. So we've got Chinese leader here. Sometimes I'm not going to use the exact words of what the pictures are because I can get flagged for doing so. So I'm just going to stick to some sort of normal terms, and sometimes I might even not say what the thing is, just to be safe so I don't get the stream pulled. So we've got the leader of the CCP here. Circuit boards kind of make sense. He's going through some drama with Taiwan, has been for a while. They want the chips. Taiwan produces all the chips. I think America started making chips themselves now. So we'll see where that leads. But binary code all around him. Binary code and computer chips. So that's kind of what they're seeing with him. Under him, we've got the all-seeing eye. So all-seeing eye here. It looks like the kind of pattern they'd have on the dollar bill, you know, that kind of old-style printing. Next to that, we've got the hourglass, and it's against the wall again. So all over this picture is against the wall detail. So lots of things are against the wall. Again, circuit chips here against the wall. And we got the sand timer here, which is, it's only just sort of started. So I'm not 100% sure whether that's going to refer to the Chinese and the circuit boards or against the wall. You know, these are all very cryptic kind of things. Excuse me. I'll jump over this side again, more circuitry boards. We've got a down arrow, and what to me, this symbol here can mean a few things, but it could just be the Japanese currency symbol. I'm not 100% sure, but there are other meanings to that symbol. See if I can pull one up. It's a chai rai. There's all sorts of different ones. So it's a religious kind of symbol. It could be a religious symbol, but to me, it kind of looks more like the yen going down. We've also got nuclear eye. So if you look at where Donald Trump is, he's in the middle here. You've got an eye here. You've got an eye here. So he's between two eyes. There's a nose just below him, and then an evil mouth down the bottom here. So he's there's kind of a face in the background of this photo too. And weirdly enough, we've got the all-seeing eye kind of thing. But over here, we've got the nuclear symbol in a red eye. So I don't know what that means, but if it's the Japanese yen above it, it could be Fukushima. Could be something like that. Not 100% sure. So looking at some of it, I can't zoom in enough. There's all these little bits of writing that appear, and I can't really zoom into them. I can't read them, so probably quite deliberate, but more bricks and walls and everything going down. So we got the ballot box. So we know we just went through all that crap. America just did their elections, but this ballot box is broken. So, you know, that could mean a few things, and it's against another wall. Zelensky below that against the wall, and against circuit boards, factories, computer parts, things like that. I'm not sure if they're and binary again, binary here. And then we've got a car. Now let's assume this is an electric car, but you can see here the power is running out. I'm not 100% sure what that little symbol is there. I should have put a jumper on, I'm freezing, it's so cold today, it's supposed to be 21, it's nowhere near it. So we've got the electric car, and we've got this, you know, running out of battery symbol, so that's interesting. Of course, next to Donald Trump, we've got more binary code, but we've got dollars. And above him, we've got this one here, which is like generally a stock market ticker, a stock market symbol of it going up. So money going up. Now, they could be referring to Trump is going to make the money, more money or whatever, but more than likely he'll just print a shit ton more like he did last time and we'll all pay more inflation. All right, so going next to Trump, we've got the big rocket. All right, so we all know Musk and Trump seem to be in a love affair at the moment. They seem to be best buddies. It's almost like Musk got his own president elected to do what he wants to do. So I will take this as Musk. This is a SpaceX thing, this thing next to Trump, which totally makes sense. Now, remembering these covers aren't made yesterday. These covers were probably made months ago. I can't find an exact date for the artwork, where it came from, you know, when it was produced. But I know they're produced months ahead. That's how they always do end-of-year covers. So it's quite possible that the election hadn't been done yet. Well, it's still not officially done, but it's quite possible. Thank you very much. Just excuse me, I'm going to put a jumper on. I'm really cold. It's freezing. I'm shaking. I always feel the cold. I like my summer. I hate this non-summery crap. It's really annoying. All right. Oh, that feels better. I can stop shaking. It's even in my voice. My voice was shaking. It's horrible. Freezing. Bloody Antarctica, Australia. It's crap. All right, so back to what we're looking at. All right, so over near Trump, we've got the warp speed thing. Like, I take this picture down here next to this other dollar symbol, once again next to Musk. So Donald Trump and Musk are probably going to make themselves another few trillion, but that's what the rich people do on the planet. We'll all get poor, they'll get richer. And we've got that weird warp speed symbol, which was also up the top here, which is right next to Saturn. So I take that as a warp speed. I don't know what else that's like, you know, light speed, warp speed, one of Trump's famous words before we got the new normal and all those things that happened. Now, over near Trump, funnily enough, we've got this thing here, which I'm not even saying what it's for. We'll just call it an injectable part, a thing. So I'm not going to go on about that one. I don't want to get flagged again. But it is next to Trump, which is next to SpaceX, which is next to this thing. I don't know if the red in it is significant. I don't know whether that's supposed to be something else like blood or something. But I would be more going off that this is the Jesuit colours. These are their Masonic colours. So they probably just made it red so it looks more like a thing that it's supposed to look like. And then next to that, interestingly enough, we've got a globe. So we're going Trump, SpaceX or Musk, they're making money. Then we've got this problem here. And then over here, we've got the globe. Now, right next to the needle thing. All right, and it's kind of showing Asia, kind of roughly, like Australia's down here. And it's showing kind of Asia and that kind of thing. So interesting. And then next to that, so we've got the injectable thing, the world, and then we've got barbed wire. Like, I would take that as being locked out, locked in, whatever, something like that. So that's caged wire, like chicken wire, but a heavy duty version. So I think we all kind of remember what the deal was, but it's a bit annoying to see something like this represented on this cover of, again, the world ahead from The Economist. It's pretty annoying to see things like that again. I don't want to see stuff like that because I won't be doing any of it and I won't take part in any of this crap. But that's a pretty strong line across there. That's, you know, an interesting kind of line to the right of Trump, and to the left we've got all the ballot boxes. It's almost like this is the past on the left and this is the future on the right. So we've got Zelensky, idiot, another idiot. We've got Putin over here. So they're kind of, you know, the left and the right again. Nuclear symbols, kind of near SpaceX, kind of near Putin. More binary code above Putin. Again, these little bits of writing here, if I zoom in, they just turn into blur. So it's frustrating not to be able to read or know what these are, but if you're in the know, you probably do know what this is from, just by looking at the text and the font and that kind of thing. I can't tell what this is behind Putin as well. Like, I have no idea what that is. It's just, again, people in the know would know. We've got Zelensky and we've got this weird kind of, it's almost like a picture of, like, not psychedelic, but kind of, what would you call it, where things are like, I don't know, I don't even know what the word I'm looking for, but kind of psychedelic weirdness, scattery. You know, it's giving me that kind of vibe next to Zelensky, who's against the wall. More circuit boards and more binary code and more warp speed below Zelensky. So that whole panel there that's everywhere. people on walls, behind walls, against the wall, circuitry, confusion, and that kind of thing. All right. Yeah, very Masonic colours. Yeah, Jack. I was going to try, so I'm actually running a paint program to show you this thing, which is not the best way to do it. But yeah, black and red is the Jesuit Masonic order. All right, I'm just getting a bit of breaking news coming in. I've got someone here showing me a phone with Saturn's rings will briefly vanish in 2025. So that's very interesting. So unrelated news story just coming in that, yeah, Saturn's rings are supposed to disappear. Well, that's really strange. Has that ever done that? Not that I know of. Not that I... How could the Saturn's ring, I suppose, with sun reflection or something? I don't know. We'll come back to that. We're getting a little bit off track. All right, so we've got Zelensky. We've got the weird kind of confusion-looking thing down here. But again, we've got this rally symbol, a rally symbol next to a really evil red mouth, which does sort of look like the eyes up here, the nose underneath Trump, and then the evil red mouth down here next to the stock market thing. And the stock market ticker's red when the one above Trump was black, kind of like a photocopied version, like it was old or something, like a photocopy. When this other symbol down the bottom here where I'm making all the yellow appear, that one's, I don't know if red's a good thing or not, but it's rally again, which, like, before any crash, the market rallies. So I know everyone who's in, I'm not in the market at all. I don't have superannuation. I don't have a cent in super. Well, I do, but it's so small amount. I can't even get it out, and I couldn't do anything with it, and it doesn't really matter. But I'm not in any market, and so I'm not worried about what happens to the markets as such. But anyone who knows history knows that go back 1929, have a look at the charts. They went off the Richter scale, and then they dumped as fast as they went up, faster than when they went up. Now our stock market's doing the same, even crappier.
Well, thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to wrap that one up, and I'll see you on the next Decode or live. I think we're doing, me and Mindy are going to do a spiritual warfare type thing, and which is not a religious one. Sometimes they're about religious things, but it's not religious. I'm not religious, just FYI. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching.